Hey everyone, I'm here at CoachingCon 2024 with a great friend of mine, Andrew Coates. Andrew is an internationally published author in the fitness industry, and I wanted to ask him a few questions about writing and how you can get started in writing. So, Andrew, what would be one piece of advice that you would give someone who's looking to get published on, say, T-Nation or Elite FTS? They want to get into the big publications. Where do they start?
Okay, so there's a few pieces to it. I'm going to hold this. All right, so number one, you actually have to practice writing. So there is no like, hey, I'm going to be blunt here. Going to editors of these publications saying, hey, I got a really great story. How do I get featured in this stuff? They're going to laugh at you, or they're going to politely tell you they're not interested or they're not going to respond. Like, it doesn't work that way. Everybody wants in there because there's potentially a lot of value in being in those things, and unfortunately they are gatekeepers for this. And it's not because they don't want to find great people. They want to find great people. They want to find great content. They have an oversupply of people interested, so they get to be picky. And you have to come at it through the lens of what's in it for the editor that makes the editor's job easier, and what's in it for the audience. So I'm going to come back to that, but first, you actually have to be a good writer. So you have to study and practice writing. There's a handful of books that I think are great. If you want to go get them, On Writing Well by William Zinsser. It's a Bible. Everybody Writes by Ann Handley. If you're struggling with overcoming the fear of putting stuff out there, Stephen Pressfield has a very short classic called The War of Art. Brilliant book. Big fan of Seth Godin's The Practice. It's also about the practice, the discipline, the habits, behavior of showing up, doing really great work, but actually shipping and not being bound by perfectionism, which just becomes procrastination of not doing the thing, the hard thing. So you have to ship the work. So I would start with some of those books. The actual writing books, like On Writing Well and Everybody Writes, you have to read physical copies. The other two you can do on audio, but you want to physically read books about writing. There are others. You can reach out to me on my media if you get more advanced, you want to get some more books on this stuff. And so you have to apply stuff. So start writing a blog on your website, start writing on social media, whether it's like, short form on Twitter, and choosing your words carefully. Get into the habit of learning to edit your word selection. And the books that I gave you will help you with editing out weak, fluffy language. Instead of using a weak, like an adverb. This is a little technical, but the person was very tall. Get rid of the word very. Tall is a mediocre descriptor. So, and just say, he was towering, right? And it's choice of words that will make your writing pop versus be weak and lazy, right? Won't get too technical about this. So the second thing is, if you're really dead set on writing for one of these publications, then you actually have to learn the voice and the style of those publications. You have to know who their audience is and how they speak to their audience and what kind of content creation they have. If you're trying to write for something like, let's say, Muscle and Fitness's work now tends to serve a slightly more general fitness-oriented audience. So if you come in with a very, very technical niche piece, then they're probably going to look at this and go, this isn't really for our audience, right? So you have to understand that. And then 3, you can go to these sites, and not all of them have this published, but you got to figure out, all right, what are the submission guidelines? My editors, they are looking for great content. They are looking for great contributors. It certainly helps you if you have a larger social media platform and presence. You have more followers. They got to be real followers. Some people try to fake that shit. Don't do that. And if you have other flags of what I would consider credibility and authority, whether you have great success in competition, right? Strength sports like you do, or visible flags of business success. You get someone like a Dr. Mike Isertello or Nick Shaw, the owners, co-founders of Renaissance Periodization. Those guys, any door that they want to enter, they can knock, and people will be like, yes, please, we would love to have you, right? Because of the magnitude of their legacy of educational content creation and the success of Renaissance Periodization. And now their YouTube channel, I think, is at 1.5 million subscribers and growing well over 100,000 subscribers a month. Now that's based on a legacy of work. So it's tricky to probably get in very early in your career into these writing opportunities. If you are a good writer, skilled writer, and disciplined, and you want to continue to submit, so here's another thing, is don't give up on the first try, right? Continue to submit. Not all these potential editors are going to say to you, all right, here's what you need to do. They're not necessarily going to give you a lot of feedback because that's use of their time. But you might get lucky and they may give you something and say, hey, this. So if you can, great. But this is the pathway, and you have to continue to show up. Now, here's another thing. Traditionally in the industry, the publications or success, high-level competition in bodybuilding, IFBB Pro Card, winning, setting records in powerlifting. These were like these gatekeepers of authority in the industry. You get Elaine Norton, who started out writing and contributing for bodybuilding.com. So it is very rare, 10 to 20 plus years ago, for someone not to come through a T Nation or a bodybuilding.com or some competitive success. And those kind of pieces of credibility could establish people because they were platformed by the gatekeepers, whether it's a Muscle and Fitness magazine or Men's Health, right? Now we have social media, so you can actually bypass a lot of those traditional gatekeepers. Plus, you can also, one of the smartest plays is to write for your own website. So stuff for your own website directs people to your website, which helps you get email addresses to build your email list to have a direct relationship. You also cannot theoretically be deplatformed off your own website. So the current problem I have as of recording this right now is my Instagram was disabled. Right. Just a whole bunch of people in our network all had our Instagram accounts maliciously targeted. Right. And so we're working to resolve this. Is there a small possibility that it'll never come back? Yes, there's a possibility. It probably will get resolved. Oh well, shit happens. Right. But currently right now, because I have this big audience on a platform that I technically don't control, that platform can take it away at any given time. If you're huge on TikTok, I'm Canadian, but the American government, we're Canadians, the American government is talking about banning TikTok. We don't know, they've been rattling those sabers for quite a while. If you are exclusively reliant on TikTok only, and you don't have your own email list, you don't have your own website to like have a home for all your work, then theoretically that could get nuked in one shot if this particular outcome, by powers that be are much greater than all of us, decide to play politics around. So I think it's a really good idea to build an email list. And an email list newsletter is also a place that you can practice your writing and build that relationship. So it all goes together. If you write something for your website, so if you're struggling to put together a very long form article, okay, write a short form blog. Just get in the habit of writing, put something out on a very regular basis and practice that skill. If you're worried about what people are gonna judge you, if your audience is small, guess what? You have a smaller audience who's not gonna judge. As you get the reps in, you will get better and better and better over time. If you do enough of it, you will get better. If you read the books to learn these skills and apply it, you will get better. And by the time more eyes are on it, it's already gonna be pretty good. If you are struggling to come up with content, one of my favorite approaches is start building a frequently asked questions section on your website. Oh. If a client or anybody on social media asks you a question, you're like, cool, I get that question fairly frequently. Yes, you're gonna always answer with nuance to each client each time, but how cool is it if you could turn around and go, hey, I get this a lot, you're not alone in this one, and I actually have a write-up about this on my website. I'm gonna send it to you, but let's also discuss how this applies to you. That's a way to add value and show authority for those people. And a lot of those topics, you could expand them out to turn them into articles. Who cares if someone else has said it before? If you want to stay top of mind to your audience, serve your customers, your clientele, the people who follow you, the people that in your immediate social network, like your friends on Facebook, former coworkers, family members, friends, etc., acquaintances. If you're putting this stuff out there and serving them, you become their go-to person. And if you have these kind of resources, in this particular context, writing resources on your website, you can direct those people to it. And there may be a lot of people in your network that you're thinking, oh, they aren't thinking about fitness, they don't care about the stuff, I'm annoying them by posting this stuff. Guess what? I can't count the number of people that I know personally who, after 5 to 10 years, suddenly reach out when something has changed in their world with a referral from a parent, or they themselves have had a bit of a health scare, or they just walked up the stairs one too many times and they're out of breath and are not feeling good about themselves. They're like, okay, I'm the person they think of on social media because I am the quote, I don't like the self-label, but to them, I am the expert in this, and they have a relationship with me, so they reach out and ask me, and then I have some resources that can help them, or I just keep sharing those resources to stay top of mind, and then they dig into what you're doing and go, okay, this is the person who would help me, and then they will come to you, they will refer you business, and yes, this is a very long play. Right? This is not something okay, I'm gonna write an article for my website and I'm gonna have 10 clients off of it. This is commit to this for the long run, but that's also what makes for a sustainable and strong business.
Well, I feel like we just got a masterclass on writing, but the next question, you alluded to it just there. This is a long play. getting to the point where you're writing for major publications is a long play. I know when we met at Dean's Place, this was probably 6 years ago. I remember you talking about, yeah, I've started writing more, I'm going to build my social media.
Yep.
So it's been 6 years in the making. And I would love to know, how many times have people said no to your articles?
So don't use me as what to expect. I've been fairly lucky. So my friend Dean Guido, who is how I know you, he asked me, God, over 6 years ago to start a podcast with him.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And we met in a gym and we hit it off and we'd talk about fitness concepts. And at the time he was messing around with keto for whatever reason he was.
I remember that.
Dean gets like very excited about and all in on stuff. When he was a competitive powerlifter, he's an absolute monster. Now it's jiu-jitsu. And considering how strong he is and then how applied he is to the skills, he's ragdolling people in jiu-jitsu. And it's just fun to see him do them. So, and now of course he's a parent, so he's full send on being a parent. But we started this podcast, and through my travels and social media connectivity, we were able to get a lot of really great guests. Like Mike Isertel was one of our first 10 guests because I met him and had dinner with him in a group setting at an event. And so that obviously blew up a lot of traction on our podcast over 6 years ago, before everybody had one. And so along the way, I got a whole bunch of different people on, and one of those people happened to be one of the editors of T Nation, Danny Sugar. Oh. And because I was already writing for my own website, because my best friend built me a website so I could write for, and it's easier than ever to get a website up and just start writing for it, because she saw that I was already writing and then had a credibility as a coach for over 7 years at that point, because I've been in the business over 13 years. She asked me, hey, would you consider writing for us at T Nation? It's going to be a very rare thing for that to happen. But what this is, there's a concept I like called surface area of luck. People think, oh, you're really lucky. It's like, well, if you put yourself in enough environments, in front of enough people, be supportive of people, you'll acquire skills, and you just continuously are of service to the clients in front of you and the people you know in your network, in your industry, and you demonstrate this hard work that you can control, like write for your own website, then if you get in front of an editor of something and they decide that, hey, your work is actually quite good because you practiced it and studied it, and then sometimes you can get opportunities like this, right? And that most people are still going to have to submit, but the rules are all the same. Learn the skills, demonstrate that you have a track record of this, and then you can refine it and submit to the publication in the voice and style and serving their audience. But that's what happened to me, is I was invited to, so I got lucky. And then through more of my travels and a relationship I developed with my friend Sam Pogue, who used to be the vice president, everybody knows Sam, the vice president of True Coach.
Yep.
So he asked me, because I was already writing for T Nation, he asked me, hey, would you come in and write some stuff for True Coach? So I wrote for them as a regular thing for a while. And then all of a sudden one day I got an email from Generation Iron going, hey, we've read your stuff on T Nation, would you consider coming to write for us? And through all this, I got more introductions to more potential editors, and more opportunities arose. And it's at the point now where you do enough of this and people see that you've written for these things. So when I got a connection to Men's Health, the fact that I had written for several of these other publications, the Men's Health editors, who are probably going to be the toughest gate to get through, looked at this, and plus it's also the strength of the personal connection who was recommending me. That's like, okay, cool, boom. So you get to write something for Men's Health, which of course is very big and mainstream. And then more recently, a publication that I will not name yet, because I never name these things until it's official, because you can have stuff fall through. I've had stuff fall through at the goal line, paid for by a major publication, and submitted, editor's really happy, publication gets sold, editor leaves, article never get published. So I don't actually, I'm comfortable saying it here, but bodybuilding.com, I actually missed an opportunity to be officially published on bodybuilding.com because I was connected to and invited to write for them. So I don't put that on my media, right? And bodybuilding has been very different the last few years, so I was never able to reestablish that connection the way that they go about their content. So I have something upcoming, and I was interested in writing for this publication. We have a bunch of mutual friends, me and this editor, very influential person, or very highly respected person in the industry, but I reached out and he knew who I was because of my writing stuff, and he was actually very thrilled to get on a call. We chatted and he was actually thrilled to have me. So if everything goes according to plan, I'll have something in a month or two that will be officially on this thing, so I will announce it on my media, but I don't wave it around until it's sealed, because stuff can fall through.
Dude, I love it. I think the big take home from this is you started writing for a website just because you wanted to write.
Yep.
And that's snowballed into being in the right place at the right time with the right evidence to allow someone to make a decision to invite them on to invite you on their channel.
Create a larger surface area of luck. Think about that concept, surface area of luck.
I love it. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me. We're still here at CoachingCon 2024. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Beautiful. That was great.
Appreciate it.